Hello, it's Manaloy. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on which part of the world you are watching this video from. Well, today I was looking through the news headlines and I thought to myself, I wonder what I could report on today. Anyway, as I was going through, I came across an article about China investing in Ethiopia. Now, the reason why I called the video, Should Africa Be Grateful? Because, okay, Ethiopia, it is a bit at the bottom with the gross domestic product, the GDP. I think Ethiopia, it's 72 billion. Rwanda is only 8 billion. But then we have Nigeria, which is 574 billion. That's the state of health economy in Nigeria. So that's one of the richest, well, it is the richest place in Africa. So now I think about, well, it's not China's fault in this case. Ethiopia in 2011, I believe, put out a call for entrepreneurs to open up factories in Ethiopia to give out jobs. So, okay, who answers the call but this guy called Zhang? Zhang, what's his last name? I don't know what his last name is. Zhang Huarong. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Anyway, he's a 60-year-old self-made tycoon who ordinarily lives in one of the rich provinces in China, but he decides to go to Ethiopia and live in less pleasant surroundings in order to build up this factory. So he sets up this shoe factory, and the shoe factory, sorry, I can't remember all this information, is the Huajian Shoe Capital. That's the name of the shoe place. And they make shoes for Nine West and Ivanka Trump. So they're not making cheap shoes. They're making top range shoes. But so where's my beef? My beef is that they're paying the Ethiopians or the locals $44 a month. One lady, she got a rise over 2 years and she's now getting $90 a month. Now that is neo-colonialism because they are totally exploiting them because they're at the lower end of the GDP. They're one of the less fortunate African countries. So what does he do? He sets up a factory and he's employing about 750,000 Africans. So of course they're going to be grateful, but they're working with, and that $44 is with overtime. They're working all of those hours and they still can't meet their bills. And then one of them was saying, oh, but it'd be worse if we didn't have it. So, you know, it's difficult because you can understand how they should be grateful, but that's total exploitation. You're making top range shoes and you are only paying out $44 a month. And then to top it all, if they make a mistake, it comes out of their wages. I mean, how can you be grateful? But I can understand how they would be. I mean, it's like, what do they call it? Oh, I can't remember the phrase. But you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So you're so glad for a job, so you go over there and get a job and you can't even live off of it. You can't pay your bills, you can't pay your utilities, you're in debt, and yet you're working all hours of God sends. And I understood that they did strike at one point, but I don't know what happened out of that. But it shouldn't be allowed. And the Ethiopian government, if they're asking entrepreneurs to set up factories, they should have some kind of regulation, but there's no minimum wage regulation. So they can pay them whatever they like. That shouldn't be allowed. What is the point of offering employment and it doesn't take them out of poverty? If anything, it drives them back into it. I don't understand that at all. So, yeah, so my little beef was, yeah, I can understand how they should be grateful because they are being given a job. I can understand, well, one guy, like I said, one guy said, you know, we'd be worse off if we didn't have it. So even though they're struggling with that low money, they'd be worse off if they didn't have it. So it's not like they can say, okay, bugger you, I'm going to go off and find something else. Unemployment rate is 16.8%. So it's hard for them. So, and then this Chinese guy, he reckons he's going to go to Rwanda next. Goodness knows how much he's going to pay that lot. You know, and then he's got the audacity to say he's rich and he's a tycoon and he's got this swimming pool in his house in his rich province in China. No wonder. You know, all that profit that you're making off the backs of blacks. And then, it's so annoying because do they have a choice? They don't. Oh, hold on a minute. Couldn't they make their own bloody shoes and sell them? You know, when you think about it, but there again, I guess they're getting all of this material from China. Apparently, this Chinese guy sent them all to China for training, and then he's got the audacity to say they don't work as fast as the Chinese people do, but it's just that Chinese people don't want to make shoes anymore. I don't know, because I think the quality of products are not good coming from China. Japan may be a bit better, but it's very low, cheap quality. And most of the stuff you find in this country, regardless of the label, is made in China. So now what used to be one of the poorest countries in the world is now blown out of proportion. China is rich. And you know what? I tell you, I'm going to read this off because I cannot, it is quite complex. But it says the China-Africa relationship has only made headlines in the past decade, but it can be traced back to the mid-20th century when Beijing began befriending newly independent states. In 1968, China, then a poor nation, spent the equivalent of 3 billion in today's money on constructing the Tanzam Railway, which linked landlocked Zambia to the port of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. Britain, United States and the United Nations had all passed on the projects and none of them wanted anything to do with it. So China's help didn't come for free. Oh no, so Ethiopia thinks, oh yeah, they're doing us a favour. At that time, Taiwan, not Beijing, held a coveted seat on the UN Security Council when China reclaimed the seat in 1971. 26 of the 76 votes came from Africa. The 200 million futuristic building was one of Beijing's largest gifts to Africa since the Tanzam Railway 1 year later. And Chinese President Xi Jinping unveiled his Belt and Road Initiative, a vast collection of interlinking trade deals and infrastructure projects throughout Africa, as well as Eurasia and the Pacific. Ethiopia is now called China of Africa. But my point is, doesn't Africa realise they're selling out? You know, under the guise of getting so much bloody money, not even thousands, you know, billions. They got 60 billion the other day, Africa. I don't know which one of the countries it was, but 60 billion. I know it was sub-Saharan Africa. China gave them 60 billion to do some kind of project. So when you are taking that kind of money from a country, you're going to be beholden to them. No wonder Chinese are saying, you know, you're nothing. We have to do this and we have to do that. Where is Nigeria in all of this? You know what I mean? Nigeria is one of the richest African countries. Why can't they keep Africa African? What are they doing selling out to the Chinese? You know, I'm just, as usual, I'm at a loss for words by the end of my videos. But what can you do? I'm just putting it out there. Okay, take care now.